Hi, I'm Ross from Airsoft, and today we will be taking a look at the Krytac MKIII LMG-M PARA. So we recently took a look at the Mark III Krytac series, their PDW, CRB, and SBR, and now I have in front of me their LMG-M PARA. The Krytac LMG is pretty similar to their other models of rifles, as the lower and internal gearbox is relatively the same. What you're mainly getting is the furniture and the box mag as well. And we'll go over what all is included in this package, but I just thought it'd be nice to mention right off the bat that this gun is very similar to the other Krytac Mark IIIs. So if you understand how those perform, you're gonna have a pretty good idea of what you're getting with the LMG-M PARA here. So to start from the rear here, we have your collapsible PARA stock. So it is just a simple pull, twist, and it is closed. Pull it out, twist it, and it's back open again. And that is your PARA style stock here on the back. Going a bit forward, and we have a mounted sling mount, and then you have a rised Picatinny rail. This rised Picatinny rail makes it very easy to mount optics to and keep it well out of the way of anything you might have in the front. We have this charging handle on the side, which flips down and allows you to be pulled back. And when you pull this charging handle back, it reveals your hop up right here. And then the LMG has a mock feed tray. So with the little button back here on the top, it'll pop right open, and then it allows you to put your dummy rounds in coming out of the box mag to make it appear as if you have real rounds there. The Krytac LMG PARA does not come with those rounds. You would have to buy those separately, but it does have that feature here if you would like to add them on after the fact. And then similarly to the other Krytacs, we have an ambidextrous mag release as well as an ambidextrous selector switch. And then it comes with a 5,000 round box mag with an optical sensor in it for reliable feeding. And then the magwell is a V2 style magwell, so you can fit your M4 magazines in there just fine. It feeds the same as any of the other Krytac lowers, but it does come with this big, nice box mag, which fits in there just right. And then moving forward, we have a 7.5-inch M-LOK handguard. It is very nice and thick, so you can really get your hand wrapped around it, and it has plenty of room for your attachments. And then up front here, we have an indented Picatinny rail for any small attachments you would like to place here, as well as your flash hider, which if you take the orange tip off, it is going to reveal 14mm CCW threads, allowing you to put on any sort of aftermarket attachments. And that pretty much does it for the externals that you're seeing here. To talk about the internals briefly, we have their updated Nautilus gearbox in here, which comes with 8mm high performance bearings, a ported full metal rack piston, integrated FET system, micro switch E-trigger, and a Neo high torque motor. All of the internals are the same as what we saw in the Krytac Mark III, PDW, SBR, and CRB versions of this rifle. So if you want more details on what's going on inside of this replica, you can go ahead and check out that video that we have going over all of the internals of the Krytac Mark IIIs. Just know that if you were to take off the upper of this and add on a CRB upper or something of that sort, you're pretty much having the same replica at the end of the day. They didn't do much internally to differentiate the LMG from their other series of rifles. So now that I've covered the ins and outs of this guy here, I'm just going to talk about some quick pros and cons that I saw while handling the LMG-M PARA. So starting off, the biggest con that I saw with this replica is the battery. I have not talked about where the battery goes yet, and I did that for a reason. It's so that I can explain to you guys why I am not a fan of this battery design. They have put the battery up into the handguard here. The only way to access it is to take off the 4 Allen key screws that hold it on, and all of the screw holes where those screws kind of secure down are free floating in there. So when you go to put your battery in, you have to make sure it fits nice and snug in there, no wires pinching. And then while putting on that cover back on there and screwing it down, it's a bit of a difficult thing to kind of get to snap into place. Once you have it where it needs to be, all those screws will tighten down real nice and tight. You have no wobble or anything. It's really secure in there. Replacing the battery on the field is already a pain as is. So requiring some sort of tool to be able to get into that compartment makes it a whole lot more complicated when you're on the field trying to do a quick change for your battery. That's just something that I noticed that I really didn't like the design of. I understand with the PARA stock here, there's not really much room for battery placement anywhere else. Maybe a smaller latch to get in there rather than having to unscrew the bottom handguard to get access to your battery. It would be a great feature to have. Right now, it just doesn't have an ease of access for that battery. And then additionally, some other issues that I saw are really just ergonomic-wise issues. When the stock is fully collapsed, it gets in the way of your selector switch, so you're gonna have a hard time flipping from safe, semi, and full auto. Now with an LMG, you're typically setting it to full and leaving it there, so it's not the biggest problem in the world. But when this stock is in, it is kind of hard to manipulate that selector switch. An issue that I said we had with the previous Krytacs was with their mag release being very loose. I'll say with the box mag style here, you're not gonna have any problems of accidentally bumping that mag release. So that is an issue we no longer have to worry about on the LMG, as long as you're using the box mag it comes with. So some other ergonomic issues that I had was up front here. This small Picatinny rail is a nice attachment, but I don't really know what you could add here. With how the handguard cuts into where the rail is, it doesn't leave you much room for attachments. It's kind of an interesting piece there. I'm not upset that they've added it, but it just doesn't really seem to have much use for me at least. And then finally, my last gripe is with the threads here. We have this fake gas nut down here. It doesn't really do anything, and it can be removed to reveal just a small screw. However, the gas nut sits up far enough that it actually blocks the bottom of your threads. So if you're going to put something on that's a bit thicker, like a tracer unit or a suppressor, you're gonna have a hard time getting it all the way down to the bottom of your threads just because of where that's placed. Not the best design choice in my opinion. I would have liked to have seen it if it was further back so that we didn't have to do any modifications to the stock replica to be able to fit on aftermarket suppressors, tracers, anything of that sort. But it's not the hardest thing ever to kind of work around if that is your intention. So just something to keep in mind, there are a few parts and pieces that are a little bit frustrating when you first get it and you are assembling your build the way you like to run it. But overall, the construction is amazing. It feels really good in the hands. It is heavy, it has weight, it looks good, it looks clean, and I am overall pretty pleased with the LMG as a replica. So with all that being said, that is kind of my quick review of the Krytac LMG-M PARA. I didn't go too far in depth with this guy because we do have a review for the other Krytac Mark III series, so if you want to see a little bit more about the internals of the Mark IIIs, go ahead and check out our video for the PDW, CRB, and SBR versions of the Krytac Mark IIIs. If you have any questions about the Krytac LMG Mark III or any other of the Krytacs, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe, it really helps us out while creating these videos, and it allows us to keep bringing you guys informational content like this about all of the new releases in the airsoft industry. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.